Sanu.
We can hear. We can hear.
We can hear you.
Voice is loud
Okay,
and
great.
clear.
Yeah, thank you. So this session, what we'll try and cover is the what is web-based chatting, the GoCharting web-based chatting, the key features that are available, setting up the profile charts, and then setting up the order flow charts, and then I'll quickly sort of help you with the key. Very few core order flow setup which you can start using, let's say even from tomorrow. Okay, so some starting setup, if you're new to order flow, that is something you would want to get started with and start using it, okay, from tomorrow itself. Okay, so generally to start with, web-based charting is essentially where the entire data, the entire computation, the visualization, everything, the components for it are all available through a server feed and a web-based URL feed. Traditionally you would have used things like Metastock, AmiBroker and others, where you'd have it to install it on your software. Okay, so you'll have to install it, typically, and otherwise install it, and also you have to store the database in your own software. But in this case, it's all on the URL, on the link and the feed, so you get it but essentially completely on your web feed. Essentially the data push, everything happens from a server itself. Okay, so this is a traditional candlestick chart that you would see, and this is available through most brokers or any other web-based charts or anything that you might be using as of today. Okay, so I'll talk through the other indicators and everything. Let me know, if this is absolutely basic, then we'll quickly skip through. Okay, but I'm assuming you're new to this and sort of want to get used to starting using it. Okay, so your search window is essentially this, nothing else. Okay, you can search for the script, nifty I, nifty and 2 is a typical symbol. They have options feed available as well, and generally the options feed is also there, the stock feed is also there, and also the futures feed is also there. So these feeds are all available through different data packs that you might want to subscribe based on your need. Okay, the minimum data pack that is there, I think, is a 10 data pack, which is essentially 10 symbols. So you can sort of open 10 charts in parallel and run any 10 symbols for any, either in futures, options, equity, anything. Okay, so that is the data pack available. Okay, and this is the normal search thing. And then you have the time interval, which is 515 or whatever time interval you want to choose. Okay, these are the different types of candlesticks that are supported. The common ones like candlestick, hollow, OHLC, Heikin-Ashi is there. Okay, this I'll come through. These two are order flow specific, the imbalance ones and the cluster ones. Okay, so these are order flow specific. Rest are the common candlestick patterns which are available with most charting softwares that you would have seen. Okay, so stop me agar if any question, and also Hindi is also okay. So any question in Hindi also is also okay. Okay, so this is aapka, your normal drawings which you typically draw, lines, arrows, rectangles, whatever, to sort of your drawings that you want to do on charts, that is available through here. Okay, and then these are some things I've saved as a favorite, but you need not do it. So when you actually have something, you can click some on this heart icon and it saves you. So a common indicator or drawing you might want to use, you will generally tend to save it. Okay, yeah, and then if you see there, you have the indicator, you have the indicators essentially. I'm sorry, yeah. So you have the indicators there. If you, I just lost that chart. Just a second. Just a second, guys. I lost that chart. Da, 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 da. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so you have the different indicators. Typically, the favorites are saved here. Other than that, there are indicators on candle pattern. There are indicators on momentum. The order flow indicators are specific to order flow setup. Okay. Yes, I'll talk to that, Rajat. I'll just come to that. Okay, so yeah, and then others also can post your question here. I will try to I'll try to sort of answer. This is full screen. Okay, maybe just check the setting on your Google Meet quickly. So this is full screen.
Can
Okay,
you
and
please
others,
post some
please feel
stats
free of
from a,
posting your questions here. Okay, so the order flow oscillators are again specific to order flow. I'll cover that separately. Others are typically standard indicators that are available. Okay, this is a cool feature of taking a snapshot, and you can post it and share it with your friends or anywhere across any social media. So you can just sort of take a picture and quickly share it. Okay, magnet mode is a sort of when you are putting line or drawing or anything, it generally sticks to the high low anything. That is a magnet mode. Settings is essentially settings for order flow and other things. We'll cover that, okay, when we do the tick size set discussions. Okay, the other important aspect you should talk about is layers. Layers is basically nothing in term, it's like the layer which picture appears, or on top of what. If you have done a PowerPoint or anything, any drawings we do, we sort of send it back, send it, bring it front, that sort of a thing. Okay, so you can you can actually control the layer or visibility of which is on top of the other one. Okay, so just for your own visual ease, so that helps you control through this one. Okay. Okay, now order flow, now indicators and others. Okay, most probably the most common indicators that are generally not available with other charts, and you have it here in default, is your volume profile and market profile. Okay, so you get the market profile. If you see, you get the market profile by default here, which is available. Okay, and you also get the volume profile by default here as well. So just a second, I'll also. Okay, so I can switch off the. So here you can control the visibility of your indicators. Like if I put 4 or 5 or 6 different indicators, I can log in. Please not run. Yes, Srinivas, please try to sort of just make a request. You should be able to join in. Okay, so here you'll control your visibility of the indicators. Generally, if you, let's say I want to only look at market profile, I'll sort of switch the volume profile off. The eye is the switch on, switch off. Okay, and if I want to look at volume profile, I'll switch the market profile off. Okay, this is how you control the visibility of your indicators on the page essentially. Okay, that makes it sort of easier for you to sort of look through and navigate. Okay, that is around the different indicators. These are the most no these are the usual indicators that is not available. Other indicators I would largely say is available in most platforms, and that is that will be there. Then we'll come to the order flows charts. Okay, so I'll just before order flow. Okay, let's do this. Okay, let's say do the cluster charts. So it needs a bit of zoom in and zoom out. Okay, let me change the theme color. Okay, this is the order flow cluster charts that you have. Okay, a quick introduction for order flow chart for everybody who is here is on the on. If you see, there are two prints here, a set of data on the right and a left, and set of data on the right. Okay, so each is one candle essentially, if you see. Okay, and the left one is your market sell orders, and the right one is your market buy orders. Okay, so and the difference is the delta which you see on the top for each of candle. Okay, so if there are more buyers, market buyers, then the delta is positive. If there are more sellers, then the delta is negative. Okay, so that's the standard representation of an order flow chart. So normally when you're looking at a candle, you just look at this candle, right? You are not looking at anything else. But when you switch to order flow, you're able to see the zones within the candle and the profile of the candle to see where buyers and where sellers are, and also the net buyer seller interaction and whether buyers are more, sellers are more. That sort of information is available. Okay, so order flow is generally not available on web based, but here it is. So that's an advantage along with the market profile, volume profile charts. Okay, so now when you're doing an order flow thing, there are a couple of things you want to keep in mind. Number one is what are the different types of orientations possible, okay, on the order flow charts. Okay, so you could essentially move to let's say if you look at layers again, and then you go to this cluster. Okay, so you can change the candle width from narrow to wide, which is just this candle width. Okay, and that is one. Second is you could also specify which let's say I'm switching the, so this cluster, this profile is called essentially a cluster. Okay, so profile, sorry, so I can switch this profile off and I just get the bid ask across this thing. Okay, now I could decide in this case, the what data do I need on the left and the right side. The combinations available as chosen here. So you can choose from any of this combination which is available on the left and the right side. Okay, so in this case, for example, what did I have? I had the bid and ask information only, so I did not bother about anything else. But sometimes there are traders, or even I had a setup where I want to see the volume also, okay, as a representation. So what you could do is make it to double. Let's say you can have delta on the left side and you can have volume on the right side. So this is the total volume, this is the net delta computed on the left side. Okay, so you can combine most of those things, but don't get worried about this. I think keep it simple, keep it to either delta and volume, or keep it to bid and ask. Okay, don't bother about too many things. Okay, so you can also put the bid ask okay, just a second. Okay, you can also put the bid ask here itself, in instead of let's say buy volume and sell volume. If you see, so you can put the, let's say in this case your left is sell volume, right is your buy volume. Okay, so you can also put the bid ask here as well, like this format also. So there are multiple combinations possible. Choose what is visually more appealing to you, or visually more easy for you to analyze. That's all. I think it's a per person choice, nothing, no rocket science here. Okay, any questions so far, or we'll just carry on?
Yeah, hi, this is Samir. The question I have
Yeah,
is this number delta. Okay, is this the
yeah.
number of contracts or is this number of lots?
No, it is neither. So it is the number of cell, let's say quantity minus by quantity, or by quantity minus cell quantity,
No,
whichever
that's
for
fine.
that
That's fine.
candle.
But that buy and sell. Let's say if I have 100 contracts, that means 75, 100 Nifty individual.
Okay, okay. So
Uh,
that is still quantity. I think there is a setting here we can where you can move it to lot basis also. Okay, so if you can give the lot size here, then it becomes a lot basis. That's all. But this is quantity by
yeah.
default
So
is quantity.
without that, it's a quantity. Okay.
It's a quantity. Okay, yeah. So 15K is not 15. Let's say in this case 15,000. Okay, 15,000 is not 15,000 lots, but 15,000 quantity, which is 15,000 divided by 75 lots. Okay,
Is this order flow chart?
this is the footprint chart. Yeah, order flow chart. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So chart type chosen, again I'll repeat here quickly. You have the option here. Okay, so you could normally go for if you're just analyzing, I'll go for a candlestick chart. Okay, candlestick chart, Heikenashi chart, whatever suits me. Okay, I'll go for this sort of a chart. For order flow, there are two possible chart types: this imbalance and cluster. Okay, so you have to choose one of them. Right now I'm showing you the cluster chart. So when you select cluster, do zoom out, and then you can see the cluster like this. Okay, so this is now within each candle, if you say. So this is actually today's Nifty order flow chart. Okay, for that matter. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. Now Now within clusters, as I said, you when you say cluster, you have a flexibility of sort of trying to choose what you want on the left side and the right side. You can choose delta, you can choose volume, you can choose a lot of combinations. Okay, so you would generally choose either bid or ask, you would choose or delta or volume, or you could also just choose a single candlestick also. So if I don't want too many things, I generally what I choose here is I'll keep it let's say single, and I'll keep the bid ask on the same side. Okay, simple to read, easy to understand. Okay, now other thing here is there are a couple of other data metrics you might see. One, the color coding. Okay, the color coding is indicative of the degree of buyer and seller. So if it's dark green, it is relatively more buyers than sellers. If it's dark red, relatively more sellers than buyers. Okay. Okay, so dark green is basically a buy side support, you might say, and dark red is more sellers coming in. Okay, now other thing is, if you see this orange one, this is the point of control of those of those. Yeah, so when it's a point of control, what does it mean? The most traded volume area for that chart. Okay, today's chart honestly is bogus because market traded in a range, but yesterday, if you see, I'll talk through one of the earliest signs came in yesterday when you really wanted to go long. Okay, this was just a second. Yeah, if you see, the delta here was significantly higher. Okay, these couple of candles, and that gave you a very early clue that despite a gap up or anything, okay, the markets can actually go higher. So that is the sort of advantage and additional information you give. For example, the morning candle yesterday was actually a red candle. Okay, if you just look at candlestick, but if you see the delta, it was a 55k delta, next one 63, 74. So you could understand that a lot of buyers are coming in. Okay, so that was the advantage in terms of an order flow chart. If I, let's say, now translate it to a normal footprint candlestick chart, generally you would see this as a red candle and you might conclude otherwise. But when you look through order flow, you understand, while it was red, but there were more buyers in this case. Okay, and so if I'm likely to see a continuation, let's say, very simple representation, there are a lot of other nuances, but I'm just trying to simplify it for the aspect of time and everything at this point. Okay, so the other chart available is the imbalance chart. Okay, imbalance chart has an additional feature where you can actually identify a degree of difference between buyer and seller. So and then get it auto color coded in the software itself. So if my buyers are, let's say, 3 times more than the seller, I would mark it as an imbalance yellow. And similarly, if they're on the buy side, if it's the other way around, I'll mark it as an imbalance red on the sell side. Okay, this gives you a very quick visual input of trying to understand whether my I have more buyers coming in, significantly large number of buyers coming in compared to sellers. Okay, so that's an advantage with the imbalance charts essentially. Okay, rest of the information, the footprint and all, is all same, nothing else different, bid ask. But the main difference is this yellow color codings you see. This is configurable. So I believe I have configured it 2-3 times. We can check quickly. So okay, I have it 500 times, which is basically 5 times. Okay, so I have the imbalance set at 5 times. So anytime if buyers are 5 times more or sellers are 5 times more, I we see this color code on the right or the left side. Clear? Okay, so yeah, secondly, multiple layers of imbalance could be assumed as a support or a resistance. If there are multiple layers of imbalance, for example, if you see this, there was 2 layers of imbalance. In this case, I've configured it again. If there are 2 layers of imbalance, let's plot me a support, please, which is green. If there are buyer imbalance, if there are 2 layers of seller imbalance, plot me a resistance, please. Okay, now if you look through, see, there was a seller imbalance in this down move in this day. Okay, then the pullback failed here. If you can see the charts clearly, okay, this was a seller imbalance in this candle. The pullback failed here and then market fell from here. Okay, similarly, when this was taken out, okay, there was it was a buy side because the support eventually became a resistance. Sorry, this resistance became a support, and this was a buy side impulse on the upside. Okay, so this is how visually it helps. This is a real support resistance generated based on market activity. That is the advantage of this sort of an information. Okay, this is configurable, the number of layers, and the imbalance value. Please ask questions on this because this is important. Okay, I'm assuming you got it or you did not get it. Let me know. Anybody?
Can you show us the layout settings?
Yeah, just a second. Yeah, so if you see, this is the imbalance layout settings I have. Okay, there are two main settings we are dealing with here. Number one, the degree of imbalance you want to configure. So if you see, I have 500, which means 5 times. Okay, number two, the number of layers of imbalance to plot the support and resistance. Okay, so if I have two, essentially if there are two consecutive imbalances, which is the case here, okay, I'll get as a support, okay, or a resistance zone. So that configuration, these both are configurable.
Hi,
Okay.
do we have any document from GoCharting explaining all the features in the chart so we can refer it anytime later?
Yes, there are there are documentation available, extensive, very extensive actually on their website as well. Okay, further I have created a my huge set of webinar, videos and all quick videos for order flow and understanding. If you like this topic as order flow and want to sort of deep dive into it, and there are enough content created on Go Charting and other way to sort of really pick this up as a skill set in your day-to-day trading.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I am looking forward for market profile and order flow, but just a request, if in your tweet, in reply, if you can post the link to the documentation, that would be great, so I can refer all the features there.
Yes, I'll do that. I'll do that. Also, if you guys need, I can, once you, let's say you have, do you all have Go Chatting, or there are guys who don't have in this call at this point?
Uh, I don't have it, but I'm planning to take
Okay.
this today
If
or
you have
tomorrow.
this,
I have the Go Charting, but
okay.
just to subscribe it, but I want to configure it.
Okay, I'll give you the settings. Okay, so another beautiful thing is
Yeah.
if I give the link, okay, you can just use the same settings as I use. Okay,
Sure.
so I
Oh,
can give you the settings. Yes.
is a
So
template
Can you put
kind
it
of
in the
thing?
chat
it's
box? Yeah.
yeah, I'll give you the link for volume profile and order flow. Okay, and you can really use it.
So you
Sure.
would be posting that in your tweet, or you would be
Whichever, I
sending
think I
us?
think I can put it on the tweet so that you'll remember, because chat box I think will get closed once the session is
Right.
done. So I'll better put it on the tweet. Okay, so that way,
Yes,
yeah,
please.
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
Please,
Yeah.
these two things, template and Go
Yes,
Charting document, please put it
yes,
on your tweet. Thank you.
yes, that will do. Okay, and they have a good very active Discord forum also. You might consider joining that. Okay, and I have a Telegram group called FNO Traders. You might consider joining that also. I do share my insights as well. Okay.
Sure.
Sure.
So in this case, how do we take a trade based on the setup that you are going to tell?
So that's what. So okay, I'll just cover. Okay, Venkat, this is a web based, so like a browser thing. Okay, so not essentially in your when you say desktop, it will work on a computer or mobile, but it's browser based. Okay.
Yeah, one more quick thing. Currently, Go Charting doesn't have a mobile app, so are they planning anytime sooner because it's easy to check on the go?
They have it on the mobile. They have it on the mobile, so you can actually log in and check the charts on the mobile also.
So you can just simply open Chrome browser on your mobile and open gochatting.com. You will see a completely 100% mobile compatible UI.
Yeah, I have used that. That's really nice. I was just hoping that maybe some mobile app which have some alerts mechanism, some notification mechanisms, something like that. But anyways, maybe in future you would be bringing that, I suppose.
Yes, we are trying to bring everything to both mobile and as well as on a desktop application. So desktop
Okay,
has
cool. Yeah.
certain other advantages from a compliance standpoint. So like automation or algo trading, all those are currently prohibited by NSE on the web. So having a desktop application allows us to go into those areas as well in the future.
Oh, great. So you're coming up with a desktop application also then soon enough?
I wouldn't, I won't be able to give you any timeline, but that is our aspiration level.
Okay, fine. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So okay, one more thing, if you want to generally is if you want to use order flow, another thing, if you will find it very useful when you go to this order flow settings, I'll share quick few things. One is your this thing, bar statistics. Okay, so if you use bar statistics, what it does, it gives you a quick sort of a snapshot of each candle. Okay, so I have four informations here at this point: trade, so number of trades that has happened in the candle, each candle wise, the volume that has got traded, the delta, and the cumulative delta. Okay, I'll talk through the cumulative delta, that is important, but generally delta and cumulative delta. Okay, see the, so you can configure more information if you want. So there is a host of other data available which you can add on the bar statistics, but this entire range, if you see, okay, is available. But depending on what is making sense to you, you keep it. But most I'll definitely recommend keep the volume delta and cumulative delta. What it does is it gives you a very easy snapshot of bar by bar representation. Okay. Okay. Clear. Okay, now this is bar statistics. Okay, the other thing that we generally want to use is cumulative delta, which is essentially your sum of delta from the start of the session or the start of the day. So so if there is a positive delta in the subsequent candle, delta increases. If there is a negative delta, delta decreases. It's just a numerical sum of delta basically. So delta till my last candle plus the delta in the current candle. Okay, so that is cumulative delta. Generally, if market is going up, cumulative delta is going up, it is positive. Okay, that's a typical thumb rule, let's say. Yeah, any questions?
So no, cumulative delta is a significance. I mean, for taking
Yes,
a trade, is it?
yes.
Not delta.
Delta is for the candle. Cumulative delta gives you the trend and the drift of the day itself. Okay, so a good again example is let's say let's go to yesterday. Okay, let's go to yesterday. You can also sort of plot the cumulative delta as a bar itself, which gives you a very good visual representation like this. Okay, if you see. Okay, so if you go to yesterday, especially bank nifty. Okay, cumulative delta or the delta was one of the highest in recent days, early up itself, and that was a very good clue again that market can actually further go up. And it's just the gap up itself is not good enough, market can go up. If you see the delta here. Okay, you see this delta,
Yes,
the
yes,
first few candle delta here, and
yes.
that is one of the highest deltas print that we had in a long time. Okay, first few candles here. Okay, so that
Okay.
was a clue that generally it's in the hindsight, I know it's closed here, but when it opened already 200-point gap up, you are not sure whether you further go long, or it can, because it has been trending, right, it can fall, right? So this sort of gives you clues on in terms of whether you do continue trading on the upside or not, at least not too short, if that's the case. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, uh, Another question, as you mentioned that while going up, delta is going up. That's a positive. Is
Yes.
it same way if it is going down also, or is there something like a delta divergence kind of?
No, those are concepts. Yes, I'll come to that. So
Yeah,
if
thank you.
if it's going up, delta is going up, it's positive. Okay, if it's not, if it's price is, let's say, okay, let me explain it here itself. Okay, so there are let's talk about a very simple order flow concept. If price is going up, delta is going up, overall cumulative delta, then everything is aligned. Try to long the market basically. Okay. Okay, the other aspect is price, let's say is makes a lower high. Let's say price is not able to go up, price makes a lower high, but delta makes a higher high. Okay, so that is a case of where absorption is happening. That means there are sellers now at higher levels of price in the market. So limit sellers. Okay, so they are not letting market go up essentially. So while a retail guy like you and me are interested to buy and long the market, there are limit sellers who are may not allow the market to go up. So hence it can push below. So that is a delta divergence, and that is because of absorption. Okay, and that is that's it basically. So then it's a case of situation or a setting for you to short the market, short the top, and try to get a downside move. Okay. Similarly, there is another case where, let's say, price is going up actually significantly, but delta is not going up, so it is a basically a bit of an exhaustion coming in. Okay. And that means again, so the buyers are sort of stopping here, and you do, that means you expect the market move to pause a bit. Okay. So try to see the delta and price upside or downside are in sync or not. Okay. If they are in sync, yeah, the trade is in alignment. If not, market may not be decisive on either side. Then you decide your risk and sizing and things based on that. Okay.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah. Today's Srini was a completely dead market actually. If you see, there was nothing on offer essentially. But there are a couple of nuances where I had shared a morning video again where we said these levels, for example 950 980, are important based on your volume profile and stuff. But generally, if you see today, there was no significant delta print or on any candle. Okay. The entire, this is today's. Okay. So there was no significant delta print on any candle. There was one which market failed to push below, but then once that held, this one, once it held, that means what? There are good limit buyers here. These limits buyers are existing. Essentially, they want to buy the market and hold the market, right? So somebody tried to sell aggressively. So there was this delta print, and they could not take it down, and there was, the sellers were done. And once it was done, market immediately retraced on the top, and then it was sort of within a range. Okay. That's why if you see delta was, but what is the context today? Today we had one push on the downside where sellers were trying to push the market down, but they failed. Limit buyers came in. Okay. And then once they came in, they defended at this level, but at the same time, like unlike yesterday, there was not much interest of buying above these levels also. So despite at the highs, the delta was weakening, so we were cautious to not go aggressively long, unlike yesterday. Okay. There was very weak delta essentially. Okay.
Uh, I have one more request. If possible, GoCharting recently released a feature of option chain on the chart itself. Is it possible to show it?
Yes, yes. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Summer, you go ahead. You have the access.
Yeah, yeah. But let's cover this once. Okay, for the sake of this session, I think where there
Okay.
are the idea
Maybe
of this.
maybe we do a separate session
Yeah,
for
we'll
the
do a separate for that.
options trading.
Yeah,
No problem. It was just a new feature, so I thought I
yeah,
would
yeah.
align it with index. So
Yeah.
thanks.
Here,
Yeah,
see, here we are
it's a
trying to.
completely different platform which has way too many features that we cannot cover in 2 minutes. So it will need a separate session of its own.
Yeah, yeah, and
Okay,
here,
maybe next time.
yeah, here, see, one of the common queries we faced is the ease of using the order flow and other things, because not only the platform but the concept for order flow and footprint is also new to a lot of people. Okay. Now that the access is, let's say, more easy and accessible, we are trying to address where, if you have any questions in setting this up, using these basic concepts around it. Okay. And how to interpret this and take a trading decision around it. Okay. So, and okay, apart from order flow, as I said, the market profile and this thing is also there, which is a very good visual representation. If you see any questions on this order flow so far, then we'll go back again once quickly on that. So I covered a few things. Okay, you look at bar statistics, as I said.
I just have one question on this one. There's also something called the tick size, I think, and that differs for Bank Nifty and
Yeah,
Nifty.
yeah, yeah. Okay, let me. That's a good one. Okay,
So
let me.
yeah, because yeah,
No, it's a good
yeah.
one.
Thank
Let
you
me
so much.
cover. Yeah, let me cover that. So let us understand where it comes from. Okay, first of all, where in the relevance. Okay, so if you see this, okay, in Bank Nifty, okay, you see this each box is basically, let's call it an cluster or a node, whatever you call it. Okay, each box. Okay, so the width of each box is defined by the tick side multiplier we are trying to use. Okay, now when I go to this thing, your order flow settings. Okay, there are two options available. One is an auto mode, which is essentially uh, zoom, automatically tries to define the tick size based on the zoom in, zoom out, etc. The other is the multiplier. So here I put so India, all all counters in Indian market has a tick size of 0.05. Okay, what is tick size? That is the minimum change that is acceptable in price, defined in price for an underlying. So Nifty can go to 15,000, the next Nifty tick will can be 15,000 dot 0.05. Okay, so that is the tick size. It cannot be 15,000.01 or 15,000.02. It has to be 15,000.05, 15,000.1.1.5, that way. So India's minimum tick size for all counters is 0.05. Okay, now you have to, depending on the volatility and the size of the counter, okay, you have to use an appropriate multiplier to make this chart meaningful for you. Okay, if I have a multiplier of 100, what I am doing is I'm multiplying the tick size into 100 to define each level at 5 points. Okay, so each level at 5 point is great. Now that means what? It is aggregating the number of sellers and buyers at every 5 point for me. Okay, into one level here, one cluster here. Okay, so but bank Nifty 5 point is great, but if I do something like an SBI, it will completely go haywire, because SBI entire counter might move 5 point in a day, right? Okay, so SBI will look like this. So when I come to something like an SBI, I have to go back and organize this and say that for SBI maybe the meaningful information is 0.5 point. So I'll just put the multiplier at 0.5. Okay, so I'm taking half point as the minimum node size for an SBI. Okay, so for if you're day trading, my recommendation is for bank Nifty use something like an 100, for Nifty use something like a 50. Okay, that is my recommendation for if you're using 5 minute or 15-minute chart. If you're using higher chart, just double it, basically higher time frame for analysis. Okay, otherwise bank Nifty 100, Nifty 5 is 50 is good enough. Okay, which will make it 5 point and 2.5 point. Okay, if bank Nifty is moving very fast, big day, a large range, can move that to 200 in that case. Okay,
Excuse me. Hello.
yeah,
So even in imbalance also same tick size.
sorry.
Tick size in the imbalance also we have to there is the
Yeah,
same
yeah, yeah,
setting
yeah,
or
yeah, 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 yeah,
okay.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
yeah.
How can you show me the settings for max delta, minimum delta too, please?
Max delta, min delta.
Uh,
You want to put it on the bar stats, right?
yes, sir.
So you go to bar statistics, okay, and then you have this delta. No, not this one. Okay, you have this, right? You can choose the bar stats panel. You can choose any of this. So I have trades on, I have volume on, I have delta on. You can just choose max delta and min delta here. Okay,
Okay. Yes.
so
Thank
it will give you candle specific maximum delta achieved and minimum delta achieved. Okay.
you. Okay, sir.
Okay, Shni, for positional, if you're using, there are two things. Okay, for positional, there are two ways of approaching it. If you're using order flow, what you might do is look at 30-minute order flow clusters. Okay, for any counter, and find out areas where there was a significant delta spike or a volume spike, or for example, if you see this was significant delta spike, this entire up move, right? Okay, now what is my expectation? This is where buyers have come in, so we would want what, this area to be defended. Now we would want this area to be defended in any down move. Okay, okay, so if you see any pushback to this zone is likely to get defended. If you see this is where your most buyers had come in, so there was a pushback here, it got defended and price pushed up here. Okay, to this zone. So that is one way of thinking where my significant delta or volume came in with good delta to define a change of trend for me. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Santosh, one more question. Actually, when I see the order flow chart in my system, especially on the candles which have a huge spike, so I see a huge candle which has 0,000 values, but I don't see that in your chart. Is there any setting that we need to do to cut down that noise?
Counter, I'm assuming Bank Nifty.
Yeah, mostly in Bank Nifty actually. With
Okay.
the candles is the huge spike actually.
Okay, so see,
Yeah.
there can be zeros, which is fair. Okay, what happens is if there's a stop run, okay, so, and a sudden, yeah, there can be zeros and it is accepted. That is normal market behavior. But one way of cutting that still to some extent is to increase the multiplier. For example, as I said, I have it. Let's say at 5 point in Bank Nifty. Okay, then I'll have less of that noise. Basically, you're saying. Okay, so that means I'm assuming, even if 5 point some orders are happening, which is normally the case, we'll have this date show up. Okay.
Okay, got it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so sometimes if you're one sort of a trick suggestion for everybody, if you're just starting with order flow, you don't want to get cluttered with too much noise. Okay, just for the sake of understanding at this point, increase it further. Okay, increase it further, then information is less, you are able to make more sense out of it. Okay, you don't need an information overload. Eventually order flow, volume profile, market profile, anything, it should enable you to make a decision, enable you to arrive at a support, resistance, whatever concept, and then make a decision based on that. Okay, so again, if you do a, as I said, if you do a volume profile, it can sorry, your market profile or anything, it can also plot those lot of other cool features like, poor high, poor lows, structures, that it can plot on its own. So those are the thing available, the vpocs are available. Okay, so you know what levels you are, you want to look for. That sort of information is available. Now see here, now since I plotted the order flow later, it is sorry, the market profile later, it is on top of my chart. Maybe I don't want it. Okay, I'll go to what, I'll go to a layer and bring the your sorry, where am I? Yeah, so candlestick above this market profile, let's say, and my candle is now on top of it. Do you see this? Okay, that is what layers does for you. So depending on which, what, where you want, you can just pull it up or below the certain layer. Okay, plus if you see a feature here, the low volume nodes get colored coded, which is basically a support for you in terms of, understanding the markets basically. Okay, so there are some features available here. I normally use the volume profile, which has its own advantages. So yeah, what else? So within volume profile also, you have a, tick profile and normal profile available. Depending on what you want, you might choose it. Okay, tick profile is more granular. So what it does is, it helps you sort of plot it at a more granular level. So if you're looking at short-term charts, you might go for a tick profile. Else you can go for a normal volume profile also. Okay, so these are the, I think, features, which has an advantage over, let's say, normally other web chatting platforms or anything that you get normally. I think these things are available. Yeah, two separate screens open, yes. So there are multiple panel combinations. Okay, so you can, like, if you see, I can quickly make it two screens or one screen. So I can run the nifty bank nifty in parallel. So you can do those things essentially, two screen, three screen, those things you can do in parallel. Okay, another feature you would actually love to see is this. Okay, let me show you. You have the trade book data available here. Okay, so when you go to books, you see the actual orders that get traded. Okay, so you can, it gives you a very good visual idea of, seeing if there are more, orders on the buy side, sell side, that is available. I opened this because this market is open at this point. Okay, pp out, not possible. Sorry, I did not get the question, Srinivas. Okay, so the trade book information is available, which is also useful if you are scalping and doing some very fast trades. Okay, that is another additional advantage. Pop out to screen window, I think you can do, you can just a second. So if I enlarge it, where to is the pop up? So you can, where is the pop up thing? Just a second. So you mean a full screen, separate screen? I think you can just open it in a different browser, or you can take it on a separate monitor that is there. Okay, so like I am
We
currently
can open it in different tab. We
at
can open it in
yeah
different
different
tab.
tab, yeah different monitors also. You can just stretch it to a different monitor and all those are normal. Yeah, yeah, that is there.
Is there any best a trick or way to use this imbalance to understand whether there is buyers coming or sellers coming, to use pyramiding? Like maybe at one point of time we have taken, for example, one lot. If I want to increase that pyramiding by understanding imbalance, is there any best method for that?
Yeah, generally what I can recommend in that case is you let's say once you have a buy side imbalance, let's say, or a sell side imbalance, whichever way you are looking at. Okay, let's see if I have a buy side imbalance. Okay, and then I would look for a pullback to that imbalance zone as my sort of an entry criteria. Okay. Okay, just a second. So if you see these imbalances, right? Okay, I plotted in a small time frame for just our understanding. Okay, you if you see a couple of instances, okay, there this was long has happened. I have not entered. Let's say, okay, I'm a trader. Okay, now I have entered this breakout, the imbalance pullback. I could enter, and then again a long, my profit taken. Okay, similarly another long, this imbalance pullback to the imbalance areas is something you can look for, your buy side entry. So until that imbalance holds, or the candle low where the imbalance happened, for example this candle, the imbalance happened on this candle. Okay, the pivot low around that holds, you can look to take long entries, basically keeping the bias. Idea is what, this is a buy side imbalance which is likely to hold the bias. So any pullback until we fail this price structure here, which is this structure, we likely to hold and continue on the upside. Okay, that is something you might look at. Okay,
Okay, so like in a general continuation or follow up, something like.
general continuation, yes. So continuation, so where do I enter my entry zone? The beauty is my entry zone becomes those imbalance areas. Okay.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Okay, but combine it with other methods. My personal suggestion is, just don't look at it on its own. There are definitely few standalone order flow strategies, which is not for this session, but I'll talk through sometime later. But then combine it with other methods like anything, market profile, volume profile, pivot points, whatever you want. Combine it with your own understanding of the market, and then look at this for a confirmation to validate that understanding. Okay. There are standalone order flow strategies also. How much delta we want to trade in index? I did not get the question, so if you can explain. How much delta? So are you asking like how big the delta or how small the delta it is? Should we sort of trade for? So that is okay, that is relative, because the entire because if you see day to day market volume changes, right? Okay, and that is relative. But what I look for is the relative delta within the day and the delta shift within the day. Okay, so if I have low delta and suddenly there is a large delta coming in, that is what you're interested in. Okay, don't look for a specific number, but look for a very relative shift of the delta. Basically that is more important. Okay. See, if you see this, okay, let me zoom out for an example here. Okay, just a quick example again, it doesn't mean much, but if you see this, what was the delta till this point? Okay, this candle 4k, then minus 175, minus 70, then this candle has a 15k delta, which was a significant relative shift in delta. Next candle we had a strike, on the downside. Now again this has its own nuances. Now when we had a downside move, and I would expect a delta continuation, so we have two big deltas, but price was not going down, right? So that means what, there are potential limit biases. Once this delta candle is taken out, or once we get scale into it, expect price to rotate up again on the upside. Okay, but look for relative shift in delta, which is more important actually. Okay, look for a relative shift in delta, not for a specific number. Okay.
Sir, how to identify the trap buyer, seller, stop loss hunting, such like concepts?
Any as I said, combine it with other features, like want to look at the profile on the right side maybe, and delta here, that's a good visual way of trading what you want to trade. Okay, and seeing whether my value area, profile areas are getting held or not. Okay. And and I think go charting has a lot of, as I said, a lot of documentation and everything created, so you might want to look into it. And I have a YouTube channel which is also which has a lot of content created as well. I do post sometime once in a while, so have a look into that as well. Okay, it's FNO Traders. Okay, and what else, and then the Telegram and the Twitters are there, so pretty much that. Okay, how to subscribe most, that's another common question. Are you aware of how to subscribe, what data packs to take?
Please explain, sir.
Yeah. So if you see this, okay, they have they have go charting is distributed in two parts. One is the platform, one is the data fees. Okay, the platform fees are for the order flow is, let's say, $20, but at this point this is available for free. Okay, so what you get at this point is you don't pay for this, but then you have to go to and buy a data pack. Okay, so depending on what you trade, let's say futures, cash, options, you can take a data pack. So let's say I trade futures, I take the futures data pack. Within futures you could choose for, most of us, I think 10 symbols should be fine. It could be any 10 symbols at a time. So if I'm adding 11 symbol, I just, the first one goes away, but any 10 symbols, it's not a fixed 10 symbol. So recommend you take this plan. If you do options, you can take this, but otherwise, start with the futures plan, experience the platform, and then add more data as you feel like. Okay, go to this go charting / order. Okay.
So this means there are two prices, one for features and the second one is for symbols. Is that right?
Sorry, no, one for the features you are saying,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the features is not, you don't pay for it at this point. Okay, for now I think as a promotional thing they have it,
Yeah.
but eventually it will. But yes, otherwise you
Mm.
pay for the data, so your features and the platform and the data essentially. Okay,
Yeah.
but on my personal experience, it's way cheaper than other platforms. There are some ninja trader platforms, where the indicators are extremely expensive, and the challenge with all that is you buy an expensive indicator or order flow somewhere, and then you don't know how to use it, and you give up after a few months and you're done. Okay, so this is a very reasonably low cost way of trying to experience let's say order flow or any feature that is you used in the prop world and by professional traders. See if you like it, see if you can adapt it. Okay, and see it makes sense to you, and then build on top of it slowly.
Sir,
Even I
let's
can
say
say from my end, the best way is they came up with a web platform, because these days most of the maybe part-time
Yeah,
traders are
so
employees.
yes, so browser
They
based is
are
another advantage.
getting benefited. Yeah, immensely they are benefiting that, because we cannot
sir,
install all those software into Office tools and all.
Yes.
NSC data pack, in NSC data pack, banking features available, sir.
Yes, so you take the futures data pack, not the cash. Okay, you go to the futures data pack.
Okay, sir. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so Nifty, Bank Nifty, if you're trading, which is the most common, take the futures data pack, take the 10 symbol, so you can do futures plus few stocks also. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
In futures, the
Excuse me, sir.
symbols are followed by a
Sir, what is this
hyphen.
power trades? Power trade
Wait,
scanner?
okay, I'll explain that. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, who was speaking? Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
so in futures, the symbols are followed by a hyphen and a Roman numeral, like Nifty dash capital
Yeah,
I,
this
Bank
is, if you
Nifty
see
dash.
my, so I is the first month and dash 2 is the second month. Okay.
90% of my customer care calls and emails are only related to this one thing.
Oh. So I think simple. I think by you search by Nifty, Bank Nifty, and that is the most common symbols you would use. Stocks also like that, SBI and dash I. Okay.
We are actually
So
coming up with a very nice search engine and a search UI in the next couple of days. So when you search for Nifty, it will show you the spot. It will show you one line for Bank Nifty future and one line for options. When you click on the Bank Nifty, it will give you the drill down of all the contracts under Nifty. And then if you click on the options, it will actually show you the options chain from where you can select what option you want. So we're kind of doing really cool stuff on the search part as I speak.
okay, excellent, excellent. So okay, somebody was asking power trades. Power trades essentially is a is denoting the number of volume traded in a certain interval of time. So if I say power trades 100, or let's say 1,000, would be too less, and let's say 10 second. Okay, what I'm trying to find out is, are there areas where in a very short time 1,000 volume got traded? Okay, what it does to you is essentially find out areas where a lot of interaction happened, and that can, if the price turns from there quickly, that becomes a very strong potential support or resistance. Okay. Okay, so it lot. Yeah.
Okay, so it means that this time interval is in seconds. So within few seconds, a lot of volume has been generated. You mean to say
Yes,
that?
in that particular price,
So
within.
is there any specific volume for like BNF and NF for
No, I
Bank
think
Nifty?
whatever works for you based on the time frame. If you're doing 5 minute, I think you can keep it 1,005 seconds generally. Okay, or ten
Right.
seconds. Okay,
All right.
so whatever works for you. If you want more prominent signals only and not scalping very fast, maybe move it to 10 second, or maybe move this to 5,000. Let's say. Okay,
All
depending
right.
on how frequently do you want to see. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. What else do I plan to launch? Crude, sir. When are you planning to launch Crude, sir? Admin, it's a question for you. I think, yeah, okay, you must be on mute. Okay, and okay, another thing here is quickly, maybe that is useful to me, so I'll share quickly also, is when you do clusters, okay, we spoke about it. There is a way to show the profile as well. Okay, so if I click this, okay, it shows the profile. What it does is it's a generation, visual representation of volume essentially. Okay, also on the cluster. So if you see like this, I know where volumes came in within the clusters. Okay, so it's a quick thing. Okay, positional trading, I think I answered right. I mean, positional, what I'm trying to do is, one is expand the time frame to a 30 minute or an hourly. Okay, and look for significant delta deviation or significant delta bit getting generated, and then look for those areas as your potential support or resistance zones. Okay, so when I'm doing positional, first thing I'll do is I'll try to expand the order flow settings also, okay, to a reasonable number. Then I would try to sort of see where there is a significant delta generated in any case. Okay, and then see whether that can become a support or a resistance basis or not. Okay, so mostly looking for huge delta spikes essentially. Okay, we discussed that positional scenario I think sometime back. Let me, so if you see, if this is yeah, let me shift this to 30 minute and we'll quickly understand. Okay, yeah, positional, mostly, as I said, just a second, I'm not trying to get the delta print here. Yeah, it's there now. See, you would look for significant delta spikes, and then combine it with your support resistance concepts. Okay, so in this case, if you see this region had a significant delta spike. Okay, in this case, a cluster of equivalent deltas basically. Okay, So in this case, if you see there was significant delta spike. Okay, now price held this. So essentially, this becomes your key support resistance point. Let's say on because it's a cluster of delta with good volumes, right? So it held. Once it broke through, price went below it. Okay, look for a cluster of delta on the buy or on the sell side. In this case, if you see again a significant delta where it came in at these levels, right? So essentially, let's say something like this. Once it broke through, that means what, these could be late buyers who have come in into the market. Okay, they tried to take it up, could not, and once we broke through that level, we went down. Okay, look for a cluster of buyers and sellers on a higher time frame generally. Okay, so that's how you look at and analyze it. Okay, that's it.
Sir, can you
And
explain?
also try to
Sorry, sir. Can you explain that bid and ask volume and all? I missed that actually. Where I'm not able to find out on Go charting settings, sir. Bid,
so
ask,
this
volume, etc.
this is bid and ask. Okay, on the left
No,
side is
but
the bid.
settings, sir. Where can I do the change in the settings, sir?
Okay, so you go to layers and you go to, or either, okay, you go through here only layers. Okay, and cluster. Okay, and you select, in this case I have a single cluster. You can have single, this it already shows bid and ask. Okay, if you do
Okay.
a double, then you
Mm-hmm.
can configure anything. So the left side
Oh,
whatever I want and the right
okay.
side whatever I want. Okay,
So we have to go to the layers, right?
yeah,
Right.
layers and within that cluster. Okay,
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah. Okay, and also layers is where you control the orientation, whether you want something above, something below. That is where you control it. Okay,
Okay, sir. Thank you.
plotted on price chart and also the intra-swing delta. CD, you can plot it
Uh,
here.
just
It's
just one question actually.
yeah.
Okay, so what is more important? If you choose the double layer, dual layer in case of cluster in the setting that you just mentioned, so what is more important to actually refer to? Is it bid and ask, or is it buy volume and sell volume that is more important from a trading point of view?
Okay, bid and ask is important. Okay, I use bid and ask. What I do in that case is, I'll tell you, we'll use bid and ask, and then I'll combine it with something like a volume profile. Okay, so I'll plot the volume
Okay,
profile also on the side like this. Okay, so it
okay,
gives me an
yeah,
idea of the volume basically that is happening around these levels. Okay, so that gives you a decent idea, let's say. Okay, there's an option of also taking the overall volume. I'll tell you, this is a setting sometimes I use. You go to double. Okay, you do on the left, you do delta. Okay, on the right you do total volume, let's say. Okay, something like this. Okay, so it quickly gives you the delta. So this is the net of bid and ask anyway on the delta. Okay, and the right is the volume. Okay, and if you change this to now cluster view, you get a very good profile view. You get a very good representation basically of volume coming in like this, if you see. Okay,
got it. Thank you.
yeah. So generally, but go for bid and ask. I think that is fine, and use the profile on the side panel maybe. Okay, and yeah, admin has posted the Discord link. Okay, if you might be interested, please join that. Okay, and I have this Twitter handle also. If you might be interested, kindly join that, FNO Traders. So where is me? Okay, and that's it, FNO Traders. Okay, try and join that as well. Okay, and there's a Telegram channel also with an FNO Traders name. If you are in Telegram, may just join that as well. Okay, so many of this. Okay, Telegram I'm more active. I'm posting mostly in intermarket or intraday view once in a while, mostly covering Nifty, Bank Nifty. Okay, and there's a forum also which shares, others are also hopping in and sharing ideas, which is okay. What else? Okay,
Hello, excuse me. I have a question for GoCharting admin here.
yeah.
Yeah, that question I would like to ask is that can we get like what I asked earlier, like cumulative delta charts and a price chart with delta values? say like I plot a 1 minute chart on Nifty or Bank Nifty. Within that 1 minute, I need to display my cumulative delta as well as the intra swing deltas. That is from a swing high to swing low on an intraday time frame. So like 1 minute. What is the swing delta?
No, I mean this is let's say 1 minute or 5 minute. I'm trying to understand your use case. You're saying this candle, you have the delta here, right, and the cumulative delta also on the bar panel, right?
Yeah, you have it in a bar chart. What I ask is that the entire
Yeah.
cumulative delta should be displayed on the price chart.
So the sum of it, you're saying.
Yeah, some of it, yeah, cumulative delta at any point of time, it should be
Some
displayed
of
on
it
the.
is available. Okay, so some of it I normally use it. I'll show you a setting I use. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, maybe if that solves your problem, let me know. So just a second. Huh? So we'll do the bar stats. Okay, we'll delete it for now. Okay, and then we have the delta bar. So I do the cumulative here. Okay, so see if you see this. Okay, it is a cumulative and the delta price on the top. Okay, and the sum of the cumulative here. Okay, this is sum of cumulative.
Okay, so both are on a different axis here. Huh?
Yeah, they would be because the numericals are different. Like this is like
The scales are very different here.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, understand that. And another one more feature, possibly if you could add, means that intra swing deltas are there. No? Say like market is say like breaking out of a particular zone. Then on a pullback, you just notice the cumulative delta. So you can see there some kind of divergence will be there. No? So if I can get that cumulative delta on intra swings, that will be better. I think.
No, again, I'm trying to understand the use case. What is your use case? So you're saying, let's say, so from a point, delta change from a certain point. You're saying,
Yes, yes. Say like I get a breakout,
okay,
and after a breakout, price is giving a pullback.
yes,
So within that pullback, you notice the cumulative delta from that particular swing high to swing low.
okay,
So on comparing the previous pullback and this current pullback, if it is
yeah.
making a something
But
like
then, yeah, then you can use the bar stats to infer that, right? Let's say, okay, let's say this. Okay, I'm just trying to understand. Let's say this breakdown. Okay, this was a
yes,
breakdown, right?
yeah,
Okay, so you would have had a cumulative delta till this point, and then a pullback also has a cumulative delta, right? Okay,
yes,
so I can see the bar statistics cumulative delta here, and I can see it here and make a measure, right?
yeah. That is what I'm doing it actually right now.
Okay,
But I think if it can display the particular
but how would you
value,
determine? The question is, in this case, let's say for a software point of view, how do you determine which pullback are you talking about?
maybe the say like here a breakdown happened and there was a first pullback to that breakdown point.
No, no, sir, the issue is that breakdown ka definition is different for you and me, right?
No, no, I'm looking at the chart. What you have seen, that a green line you have drawn. No,
Correct, but that is I plotted it, right? Okay, let's
yeah,
remove
yeah,
it. Like, the challenge is you might be thinking from here. Let's say I'm a late enter. Okay, I'm just trying to understand. Okay, I'm not questioning you. Don't get me
yeah,
wrong.
yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to
Got it,
define
got it.
the statement. Okay, uh, so yeah, we will discuss this, but the challenge is how do you define, you understand? So the only way is on a bar statistics you can quickly, probably if you add that, I can quickly see that. Okay, for example, what was my cumulative delta, let's say, on that level versus on the next level. That is one way. I am also thinking what else is. The other is, other is way of visually doing it again is, let's say this bar was broke down, right? Okay, so I take this bar cumulative, I just put a line here for my reference. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, now the pullback failed to come to this point, let's say on cumulative delta basis. Okay,
yeah.
and then it cracked from there.
That is what on an say like if a breakdown happened
Hmm.
and on the pullback you're just measuring the cumulative delta whether it is increasing or decreasing. That
Hmm.
means the pullback is having the strength or not or something like that.
Correct, correct.
That is what I was doing it. But at this point of time, I'm using the same thing. Like I'm using two scales actually. One is on the
So
price
like
and
you
another
have
on.
a fixed range volume profile. It's like a fixed range
Hmm.
delta. So basically the user defines the start and the end candle,
Yes.
and basically the drawing tool or whatever we create, the tool basically computes the delta between those two candles.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
So that is, I think, admin something. I think Sierra charts or somewhere I saw that. Basically, I can take a point. Okay,
Hmm.
I can just let's say put a sort of an extended till this point, like the fixed range as you said. Okay,
Yeah.
I just computes the delta from that point to point
Yeah, yeah,
basically,
it's doable. I think it
and
should be doable.
gives you a quick infographic here basically somewhere on top. Okay, that's it.
Understood, understood. Yep, yep. I think this
Okay,
should
got
be
that.
doable.
Yes, yeah. But if that is there, then it will be easy to take some decision very fast. You can
Yep, yep,
Mm.
yep. Good
yeah,
suggestion.
lower time frame, like 1 minute and all. You can do a lot of scalps and all those things.
Agreed, agreed, agreed. 100% agreed.
Okay, thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah, defining it through the drawing is easier because then individual
Actually, I'm
context can
liking the
remain
idea
separate.
so much. I'll probably give it a try. Maybe tonight.
Yeah,
I'll not
yeah,
sleep.
yeah. I think Sierra something I saw that okay they have this so I can this plots and it quickly gives the stats on top of here basically. Okay.
Mm, interesting. Good addition. Thanks. Thanks for the suggestion.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome.
I think we have exhausted the questions and sessions
Yes, I
for.
think it was a good discussion. I think yes. So
Yeah.
we have good.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, this